Good morning, everyone. Um, I'm late. It's Wednesday. Yeah, and I want to talk about that. I've that's not the right way. That would be the mean way to say that. Like what? Okay, so what I want to talk about today is how to invite magic in, or how to re-invite magic in once you've lost your magic. And I'm not saying that my last month has not been magical, because it has been. Like I've had a really May. May was an extremely good month for me, spiritually, mentally. Like a lot of things came together in the last month. But I want to talk about a little thing that I do, a little pitfall that I have. And I'm sure I'm not alone. Like I just this morning got an email from a client of mine. She's in my 3-month program. About some physical issues that she has, and that she just realized that, just because things are going okay, so she feels like she's doing better, doesn't mean that she can stop doing the exercises that she does to, you know, stay in the shape that she's in. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today, is because what I tend to do is when things are going really well. So I know how to make things go really well, right? I have my morning rituals, I do my meditation, I do my journaling, I do my yoga. Like the more aligned I am with my intuition, the better I feel, the more creative I feel, the more inspired I am, the more authentic my connections are to the people that I meet and the people I already know. Like the deeper we get, like the more layers we go through. But what I tend to do is, like, when I'm really happy, like really happy, when things are just really aligning, and like it's like one big synchronicity fest, and I'm just intensely grateful for everything that's happening, and I get this feeling like, oh wow, this is the proof that I'm doing something really right, because look at what's showing up for me right now. The thing for me is that, and like I said, like I'm sure I'm not alone in this, and this is exactly why I want to talk about that, is that I tend to stop doing the things I did to get there. So when I'm feeling really good about myself, about my life, about my business, about the things I'm doing, about my writing, the first thing because, in that excitement, like in that having that much energy, like I'm doing all the things, right? So I'm going fast, like I just, this one way, and I'm like let's just head there, like right now. And the first thing that goes when I have so much that I want to do is I tend to stop meditating. I journal much less. Like my morning ritual becomes like a minimal version, and if I have things planned in the morning, I'll skip it altogether. The only reason I did cards in May at all was because I did my own tarot challenge, so I had to do it. Like it was great accountability, so to say, for me, because I had to do it. So I like my tarot challenge, for those who are not aware, was a tarot challenge that I created to dig deeper into the reasons why you are in your own way when it comes about your writing or your other creative processes, whether you're a painter or a sculptor or a photographer or a writer. So that is what the challenge was about. But yeah, I had to do it because that it was my promise to my audience. Otherwise, probably would not have done it. So it was a good way for me to be accountable in that way, and it was really, like, it was extremely intense, which is also one of the reasons why, like, May was just a very intense month for me, even though it was very good, like really good in terms of personal growth, the connections I made, the people I met. Like it was like just like one of those months, right? But the thing is, like, when I have one of those months or moments or weeks or days, yeah, like my self-care practice gets, I put that on the back burner. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. Like, how do you, and this is why I'm doing the video now, because I was in that transit in the past few days. Like, something's not going okay. Like, yeah, I lost something. I lost some of the magic. What do I do? And then yesterday I had this, oh, wait a second. I just returned to what I already know. I returned to my morning ritual. I returned to my meditation. I will return to my journaling. I will return to how I usually set up my days, because when I set up my days like that, I tend to have brilliant days. So the moment I stop having brilliant days, I realized, wait a second, I forgot about a system that I already have, that's already in place. Let's just say for me, like, I have really good habits. Like I was, so this weekend, this week was 1st of June, right? So it's like, June is Pride month. So I went to the capital in Cyprus, Nicosia, to go to the Pride March, and I met some local people, and one of them was like, "Oh, you're from the Netherlands. Do you want to drink something?" I was like, "No, I'm good. Like I have my water. Do you want any alcohol?" No, no. Oh, well, what do you do? Like, do you smoke? Do you do drugs? Do you do? And I was like, no, no. And he was like, but you're from the Netherlands. Like, what are your bad habits? You know, of course, because the idea is that in the Netherlands you can do anything you want. So you have to do everything you can. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not me. But of course, like I do, like my bad habit would be, if I'm on top of the world, I forget about my good habits. That would be my bad habit. So this is why I wanted to talk about like re-inviting or inviting that magic back in. It's like, so do you know what that is for you? So for me, when I'm out of that, I know like the fastest way to get back to being inspired and be productive and be focused is to get back down on the yoga mat, do my meditation, do my yoga, do my journaling, and then, you know, like magic, like my life will become more focused and structured again. That just happens. Like it's the only hard work I have to do is remind myself that I had this really solid practice and I strayed. So I need to, you know, get back on track with that. So what is that for you? Like what do you do? So I know I have clients who keep themselves inspired by going to the cinema every week, right? Just see something, you know, to help them fill their cup, like creatively, see how other people are doing. So that for them, sometimes if it's too busy, that will be their non-writing day. Even though they try to write every day, that will be the non-writing day, because they understand that taking that break, going to the cinema, seeing a film, that is exactly what they need to keep inspired, to keep that is her inviting her magic into her work, into her life. So that's just an example. Like there are multiple, like just seeing your friends, going to a museum, doing yoga, going to a class, doing a course, watching a webinar, reading a book. Like reading of course, especially for the writers, like reading is a profound practice. What is it that you do? Are you aware? Are you aware of the good habits that you have? Are you aware of the things that you do that sort of like keep the muse going, like keep, you know, the way you take care of yourself and make sure that you are aligned with your creativity and, like I said, with the muse, with that with that inner creative spark. What is it? What is it for you? And what do you do when you lose track? Like what I did. Like I derailed, not in a bad. Like I'm not saying that I regret the past month, but it's just it's good. Like everything, I mean, divine time, right? Everything happens in the right reason. So that I'm now realizing, okay, this was fun. It was a month of very intense connection and creativity and, you know, thinking of new projects. It's time to sort of like recenter into myself and see, okay, what of that can I actually, so what of that can I turn into something that I can actually put out there? Like what of that, it's like the balancing, like, you know, if you I don't know how much you know about the feminine and the masculine principle, but like the feminine is the creative source, right? And we always talk about there is this idea that, you know, women are from Venus, men are from Mars, but of course the thing is that everybody has the masculine and the feminine inside of them, and the feminine is that creative spark, that creative space where we do create, and the masculine is that action oriented part of ourselves, and we need both, because if we're only inspired but we don't do anything with it, we won't create output. So we don't speak up, we don't, you know, present ourselves to the world. That is the masculine aspect. But if you only have the masculine aspect, you won't be divinely inspired, right? There will be, you can create, of course you can create, but for whose interest? How aligned is it with your soul? How is it in the best interest of the people of the planet? So you need both. You need both the feminine and the masculine principle. And I would say for me, like May was like really connecting to that feminine principle. There was so much inspiration. It was just like overwhelming. But at one point you have to go, well, okay, so now I have all that inspiration. Now I had all these new ideas. Like you do need that action forward motion. So you do need to sit. Actually, I need to sit still. I need to sit with that and decide, what am I going to bring into motion? So to what of these things that came to me over the past month will I apply this masculine principle of turning it into something that's actually tangible, can be put out there. So it's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. It's not, and that's, I've been trusting that the entire, like I saw myself, slip is not the right word, but I saw myself not doing the things I usually do. And for the first time in my life, I decided to trust that. I was like if everything's a cycle, I will get back. Like it will end. So it's just surrendering to what is happening right now. And it did. Like over the past 3 or 4 days, I hit the brakes and slowed down and returned to myself. And of this morning, I started doing my ritual again the way I wanted to do it, like so the full thing. So it is a cycle, and it will come back, and it came back to me without me kicking and screaming about it, without me being frustrated about it. It just came back to me like organically and naturally in the right time, in the right place. So that is of course, that's my very particular process. But I also know that means that I will now sit down again, and I have so many writing projects going on. I do know that with me inviting this calm back into my life, I know this means that I will write again. I will write. Well, I did not. It's not the case that I did not write in the past month, but it was in between things, right? Because other things had priority past month. But yeah, I do know. I trust that now I'm inviting that calm back in. I will return to the project I'm working on because it needs to be finished. So yeah, it's also about that. So it's when I talk about like inviting the magic or re-inviting the magic, it's about being open for it to show up for you when you're ready, if that makes sense. Like I do hope so. So yeah, could you think about that for yourself? Like how do you keep inspired? Like how do you fill your own creative cup? Like how do you invite your own magic, and how do you re-invite that magic when you run off the path for a little bit. And derailment is okay, right? Derailing can be very productive, because if you just focus and you just go straight ahead, you might actually miss opportunities for inspiration, growth, self-development. So it's not bad to derail for a little bit. It's all about it's all about finding your way back at the exact right time for you. That's and I do feel that happened to me for in this particular moment. So yeah, think about that for a little bit. Like, how do you invite or re-invite magic into your life, and how can you keep doing that? Like, are you even aware of what brings out the best in you? Are you aware of that? Like, what practices do that? Just think about it. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week.